This is Mac OS Ken.
A look at iPhone in China. There may be new MacBooks on the way soon. And checking on the Twitter CSAM App Store debacle. It is Thursday, the 15th of January, 2026. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for growing your presence online. Get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain with offer code MacOSKen at squarespace.com/MacOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Copilot Money, designed to make your money feel clear, calm, and fully yours. If you're still in New Year's resolution mode, Copilot Money has a deal for you. For a limited time, new users who sign up at try.copilot.money/MacOSKen get 26% off your first year. That's 26% off for 2026 after a 2-month free trial with offer code MacOSKen. Copilot Money can help you with your financial resolutions, starting on the Copilot Money dashboard. That lets you view new transactions, budget categories, recurring charges, and more, all in one place. You can keep track of all your subscriptions. You can see how various accounts and investments are doing. You can see your financial life no matter what device you're on. They've got beautiful apps for iPhone, iPad, and the Mac, as well as a great new interface on the web. Recognized by Apple as a must-have finance app and as a smart way to save money, you can try it for no money with a 2-month free trial with offer code MacOSKen. Then new users get 26% off your first year when you sign up at try.copilot.money/MacOSKen. Copilot Money. Your money, beautifully organized, now across every device at try.copilot.money/MacOSKen. Huawei has reclaimed the top spot for smartphones in China. Okay, has it really though? I mean, that's what the headline says from South China Morning Post. Huawei reclaims top spot over Apple in China smartphone market after chip breakthrough. The thing is, they're basing that not on numbers from Apple nor numbers from Huawei. They're basing it on numbers from IDC. If the numbers from IDC were blowout, they might be more believable, but here's the thing. Based on IDC's numbers, the piece says Huawei captured 16.4% of China's smartphone market with 46.7 million units shipped, narrowly beating Apple, which shipped 46.2 million iPhones for a 16.2% share. Assuming those numbers are accurate, that is practically a tie. But here's the thing. Another thing. A different firm might get a different count. We talked yesterday about the different numbers counted by IDC and Omdia when trying to tally Mac shipments last quarter. Then one more thing, just for fun. Back in the halcyon days when Apple reported unit numbers itself, IDC, Gartner, and everybody else regularly got those numbers wrong. Sometimes marginally, sometimes wildly. I still talked about them because they spoke to a certain sort of market sentiment. Now I talk about them because Apple no longer reports unit numbers of its own and observers abhor a vacuum. Not saying IDC's wrong this time. There's no way for me to know. I just questioned the South China Morning Post headline. Unless what they were looking for was clicks. Well, they got at least one. We've heard about the memory problems plaguing smartphone manufacturers these days. You remember that, right? News about memory problems? Well, Apple and Qualcomm are reportedly worried about another very specific component as well. Citing a Nikkei Asia report, a piece from Seeking Alpha says the two corporate giants are concerned about the strained supplies of Japan's high-end glass cloth fiber. Sounds like hints on $20,000 pyramid, doesn't it? Glass, cloth, fiber, things you cover things with. Yeah, it's a bit more serious than that. The piece says glass cloth is a vital part in chip substrates and printed circuit boards, or PCBs, which themselves are the building blocks of electronic devices, and the most advanced type of this cloth are made almost exclusively by one Japanese firm, Nitoboseki, but you can call them Nitobo. What's the problem? Starts with an A, ends with an I. Seeking Alpha says the AI boom has increased the demand for high-performance PCBs manufactured with premium glass cloth, meaning that even AI companies now want Nitobo's products, putting not just Apple but also mobile chipmaker Qualcomm at risk of supply shortages. Having called out IDC a time or two over the past couple of days, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that Nikkei Asia has this sort of propensity for alarmist headlines where Apple's concerned. That said, both Apple and Qualcomm are said to be seeking other glass cloth fiber sources. Neither offered comment for Seeking Alpha's report on Nikkei Asia's report. This week's Apple Creator Studio announcement has some saying new MacBook Pros could hit by the end of this month. MacRumors put a bunch of pins in the corkboard, joined with connective strands of yarn. Working the case, Apple Creator Studio, the subscription bundle of AI-enhanced tools for producing audio and video, that goes live on the 28th of January, making around then an excellent time for new Pro hardware. Apple's next earnings call, covering the December quarter, is set for Thursday, the 29th of January. Apple has announced new hardware right before earnings calls a number of times in the past, making around then an excellent time for new Pro hardware. And finally, this whole thing's happened before. MacRumors says Apple unveiled MacBook Pro models with M2 Pro and M2 Max chips with a press release in January of 2023, making around then in 2026 an excellent time for new Pro hardware. The biggest changes are expected to be the inclusion of M5 Pro and M5 Max processors. That said, the piece stops just short of actually expecting the new machines this month. All of this is speculation, says MacRumors, so do not set your expectations too high. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for growing your presence online. Do you know something that other people don't? Want to get paid for sharing that knowledge? You can do that with Squarespace. From consultations to events and experiences, you can build a beautiful site with Squarespace using Blueprint AI or their award-winning templates. Make a site to showcase what you do to attract clients and grow your presence online. Then sell your know-how. Online courses, videos, memberships. Charge a one-time fee or set up a recurring revenue model. All of it handled in one space. See what your site could be with a free trial at squarespace.com/macOSKen. Then when you're ready to launch, use offer code MacOSKen to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. See what you can do with Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com/MacOSKen for a free trial. Then use offer code MacOSKen for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for growing your presence online. Get started today at squarespace.com/MacOSKen. The whole obscene pics from Grok thing both picked up and tried to blow off some steam on Wednesday. We'll start with a piece from Engadget. That site had a coalition of 28 women's and progressive advocacy groups writing to Apple CEO Tim Cook and Google CEO Sundar Pichai, The letters asked the CEOs what members of the U.S. Congress and Apple and Google customers were asking last week. Why aren't the two companies abiding by their own developer guidelines and pulling the XXX and Grok apps out of their respective app stores? Quoting the letter from early Wednesday, Grok is being used to create mass amounts of non-consensual intimate images, including child sexual abuse material, content that is both a criminal offense and in direct violation of your store's guidelines. Because Grok is available on the Grok app and directly integrated into the husk of Twitter, we call on your company's leadership to immediately remove access to both apps. If this just seems like people piling on Twitter for every little thing to you, research by Bloomberg writer Genevieve O indicates otherwise. Referencing O's article, the letter says the Grok account on Twitter was posting about 6,700 images every hour that were identified as sexually suggestive or nudifying over a 24-hour period. In contrast, the letter says the same investigation found that the other top 5 websites for creating and accessing non-consensual intimate images averaged 79 new AID clothing images per hour combined in the same 24-hour period. Both letters pointed out to both companies that the image generation violated each company's rules governing their respective app stores. The letters also demanded that leadership of each company urgently remove Grok and the husk of Twitter from the App Store to prevent further abuse and criminal activity. Groups that signed the letters included the Consumer Federation of America, the Midas Project, Move On, the National Organization for Women, Ultraviolet, and a host of others. It's unclear whether the companies responded to the letters. They did not respond to Engadget's request for comment. One wonders whether Apple and Google will ever feel compelled to address the issue. I mean, the request for answers from members of Congress likely still stands. That said, most of the attention has been on the apps themselves, not on the app stores. Midday Wednesday came word that the state of California is investigating Grok over the sexualized deepfakes. That's according to another piece from Engadget. Possibly tone deaf, possibly trolling. California Governor Gavin Newsom made his stand in the belly of that beast. Newsom took to XXX to say, XAI's decision to create and host a breeding ground for predators to spread non-consensual, sexually exploitative AI deepfakes, including images that digitally undress children, is vile. I'm calling on the Attorney General to immediately investigate the company and hold it accountable. Accountable? Accountable for what? Was apparently Twitter owner Elon Musk's immediate reaction. A piece from The Hill had Musk posting on Twitter on Wednesday, "I not aware of any naked underage images generated by Grok, literally zero." It's kind of hard to square with comments Musk made over the weekend, though. 5 days ago, which is like a month and a half ago now, a piece from Reuters had Musk posting in his personal porn theater that in focusing on Grok and the thing that used to be Twitter, Britain's government just want to suppress free speech. Thank God he had users to throw under the bus. His Twitter post on Wednesday continued. Obviously, Grok does not spontaneously generate images. It does so only according to user requests. When asked to generate images, it will refuse to produce anything illegal, as the operating principle for Grok is to obey the laws of any given country or state. There may be times when adversarial hacking of Grok prompts does something unexpected. If that happens, we fix the bug immediately. The CSAM producing bug that's been going on for a week that you didn't know about? Or the CSAM producing bug that you said over the weekend was Britain wanting to suppress free speech? By the way, if you're looking for someone else over whom to fanboy, Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games, has apparently sided with Sauron. Linking to an article from MacRumors about the 3 Democratic senators asking Apple and Google for answers, Sweeney hit Elon's porn palace saying, Reason number 42 for open platforms: to shut down every politician's incessant demands to all gatekeepers to censor all of their political opponents. In a follow-on post he wrote, all major AIs have documented instances of going off the rails. All major AI companies make their best efforts to combat this. None are perfect. Politicians demanding gatekeepers selectively crush the one that's their political opponent's company is basic crony capitalism. In other news, Tim Sweeney apparently likes Apple now. Anyway, that thing that Musk didn't know was happening, that thing he said was the fault of users, not Grok, that thing that Sweeney puts down to, bad sportsmanship or something? Yeah, that thing Twitter says it wasn't doing wrong. It says it's going to stop that right now. On its safety page, yeah, I know, right? They've apparently got one of those. On its safety page, the thing that used to be worth something said, we have implemented technological measures to prevent the Grok account from allowing the editing of images of real people in revealing clothing such as bikinis. This restriction applies to all users, including paid subscribers. Cool. Apple and Google still need to answer for their inaction. Here's hoping they do. macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and sponsored by Copilot Money. Get a 2-month free trial with offer code macOSKen at try.copilot.money/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Squarespace. Get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain with offer code macOSKen at squarespace.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSKen at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Leonard likes this post.